So welcome. We all want to feel great and we like to eat. So how do we make sure those two things go together, that we can be healthy and also enjoy what we're eating? And the mind and the body are connected. Well, the mind is part of the body, but actually the same nutrition you need for your heart, you need for your brain. Why isn't it going to the next slide? Oh, there it goes. Well, some of the things we're going to cover today are just eating for health, the mind diet, metabolic illness, because there's a lot of nutrition issues with metabolic illness, and many people with mental health issues also can have metabolic illness. Medications, not just for mental illness, but all kinds of medications for many illnesses do have an impact on our health. Gut health is like the latest thing, and I could spend a whole hour on just that, but I want to touch on it just because it's in the news all the time. And the last is what you have to do to create an environment of wellness. Okay, so we all want good health. That's kind of obvious. We'd like to live a long time with being able to do everything we want to do. We want to enjoy our activities, want to feel great, not just okay. So it's up to us to choose a healthful lifestyle, one that includes eating foods that contribute to the nutrients the body needs. Sometimes this means thinking about food in a new way. So you often think about, oh, what tastes good and not what's good for me. But it's not easy. Our supermarkets have aisles of food that have little nutritional value. And we have a lot of ultra-processed foods. So an ultra-processed food would be, for example, if you started with a sweet potato, that's unprocessed. And then you go to maybe frozen mashed, that's just a little processed. But then you go to sweet potato tater tots, they are ultra-processed. So the more processed the food gets, the less nutritional value it has. And fast food restaurants are everywhere, and most of them have high-fat foods. There's very few vegetables or fruits. Television ads make unhealthy foods seem desirable. We never asked for many of these foods, like SpongeBob foods, that whoever asked for them, we just get these new products that, you never asked for them. We often eat fast, quick, unhealthy meals. Excuse me. We are really a society that eats fast lots of times compared to many other societies around the world. Sometimes I'm not sure why this is not going. Oh, there. Oh, no, that's too far. Oh, well, no, that's okay. We'll go there. One of the things that's very easy to do is to have too many what we call empty calories. And Coke is one of those. People, when I used to do nutrition counseling, I would find, especially men, who would drink 1,000 calories a day just on empty calories. It's also easy to do if your medications give you dry mouth until you're very thirsty. But as you can see, there's 100 calories in just 8 ounces. And most sodas you buy are not 8 ounces. They're 16, 26. I mean, they're huge. There's sodium, lots of sugar, and the ingredients you can see are nothing that's going to give your body any nutrition that it needs. One of the things is that as a society, we're all gaining weight in America. And it's because we have these changes in our diet where we eat fast. We have a lot of ultra-fast processed foods, and we aren't as active because we're in front of computers a lot. And many illnesses are related to weight. Americans are gaining 1.8 to 2 pounds a year. And if you happen to be on some medicines, not just antipsychotic medicines, you can have 50 to 60 pounds of weight gain, which is a lot for your body. So this is what metabolic syndrome is. It's having fat around your middle. Your triglycerides are elevated. HDL is what's the good cholesterol, and that's low. Your blood pressure may be high, and you have some resistance to insulin, which can lead to diabetes. And you can develop these symptoms in less than 15 years. So when you have weight around the stomach, it increases your risk of all these illnesses: diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, heartburn, gout, hyperlipidemia, that's a lot of fat in your bloodstream, high triglycerides, gastric reflux, which can be damaging to your esophagus, osteoarthritis, which is, that arthritis around your bones, and sleep apnea is another problem. Medication outcomes that can cause weight gain. One, some medications have sedative effects, so you're tired and you don't move around as much. As I mentioned, increased thirst is definitely a problem, and you want to drink more and more, so you have to really think about what you're drinking. And water is obviously better, but you can get carbonated waters and things that don't have any calories, or you can add juice to a little bit of them if you want some sweetness. And you also have an increased appetite and carbohydrate craving with many medicines. And those and they have an action on hormones: leptin, ghrelin, and insulin. Leptin is a hormone that should be, it comes out of your, gets a message in your system when you've eaten a lot. So it should make you cut back on what you eat. But many people on antipsychotics and other medicines become resistant to leptin, that message. They don't get the message to stop eating. Ghrelin tells you to eat when you get that message when you're hungry in your stomach and you need to eat. And that may be more pronounced. And then insulin is from the result of blood sugar, and too much fat in your body can make you resistant to insulin. So the insulin comes when you eat something with a lot of sugar, and the insulin comes out of your pancreas to take it out of your bloodstream and put it into cells. It doesn't work quite so well. Your fat cells are kind of resistant to it. Now, sugar is not a bad thing because your brain runs only on glucose, the simplest sugar there is. But when you have straight sugars like empty soda, then it's going to go into your bloodstream really fast. If you're eating sugar in a whole grain bread, it takes a while to absorb. It's not a direct impact. And a lot of the sugar is coming from carbohydrates. It has to be broken down, starches and things. So it's not right into the bloodstream. Other behaviors that can be make it difficult to eat better is you have evolution, lack of drive, energy, motivation. And certainly in my years as a support group leader in NAMI, there are plenty of family members who do not have any energy or motivation to go out and try to buy good foods or make nutritious foods. So that can really be a problem. Anhedonia, your inability to experience pleasure. If you're not getting pleasure from eating something, you may try to eat more and more things that in your mind, you should say, I'm enjoying eating them, but you're not, because that's part of the illness. Apathy, no interest, no concern for yourself. Anergia, diminished energy and little physical activity. And alogia, slow thought process. All these make it difficult to engage in changing your eating habits and eating healthier. And your family members, people around you, can help you with this by what they have in the house. If it's only nutritious foods in the house, then you can't go grab a box of Oreos if they're not there. And also by encouraging activity. You need a whole environment of people around you to help you eat more healthy. So these are the National Cholesterol Education Programs examples of metabolic syndrome. If you're a man, you have a waist circumference greater than 40 inches, a woman greater than 35, Your triglycerides are above 150. Your HDLs, those are the good cholesterols, are less than 40 in men, less than 50 in women. Your blood pressure is greater than 130 over 85, and your fasting glucose level is greater than 110. And if you have any three of these conditions, these parts, you will be considered to have metabolic syndrome. You have to have at least three. Oops. So the MIND diet is sort of like the Mediterranean diet, which you might have heard of, but it has a few little things different. Once it says omega-3 fatty acids at least once a week, and I'll talk about them a little later. Whole grains, 3 a day. Green leafy vegetables, 1 a day. Snack on nuts, but we'll talk about that. Nuts have a lot of calories, so it has to be a small amount. Beans every other day. Poultry instead of red meat. Cutting down on red meat is a big part of this. And berries at least twice a week. Fish at least once a week. So the essential fatty acids, they're necessary for life. Your body cannot make them. They're omega-3s, DHA and EPA, and you cannot make them. So you need to eat them. And they're so important is why this baby food picture is there, because they're added to baby food. It's very essential for your mind. It says on the baby food thing, brain and eye development. They're essential. They're gatekeepers of cells. So they're a biological fence. They're building blocks of eyes and brains. They help make and regulate chemicals that affect mood. They are required for growth and development of brains and brain cell communication that affects learning and IQ. So they are essential. They also keep your blood flowing smoothly. They're the heart's natural pacemaker. They're involved in sturdy bones. They impact, as I mentioned, your mood. They affect stress, learning, and memory. And there's been studies that show they decrease hostility. Foods high in omega-3s, salmon, trout, mackerel, herring, tuna, sardines, and cod. Canola oil. Canola oil is one of the most inexpensive oils there is, but it's also the one with the most omega-3s. Walnuts, soy nuts, almonds, but other nuts also. There's not just those three. Flaxseed, and then you can find a lot of foods enriched with omega-3s, like you saw the baby cereal there. And like you'll see omega-3s in the walnuts. Here you can see it on the salmon package. But you start looking around and you'll see omega-3s added to some cereals, to a variety of things. But the best omega-3s are in the fish. It's a problem if you're a vegetarian because you don't like it. So then you have to look for the ALA because that can be converted, but it's not as good a process to get to EPA and DHA that way. The American Psychiatric Association recommends fish oil for patients, and they recommend 1 gram of EPA and DHA. So when you look at, if you want to take a supplement, you need to read the labels so that you see that they have EPA and DHA, and there's a ratio of 3 to 1. Very important for your body are high fiber foods. This is all the things that dietary fiber can do. Their fermentation produces short chain fatty acids like butyrate, and that's done in your colon. So any fiber that just skips through your small intestine and gets to your colon is going to be made into short chain fatty acids if it's a good fiber. And that's very important for the health of the colon. The colon cells depend on this. The short chain fatty acids are also very important for metabolism of many nutrients. And they're involved, the preferred energy source for that healthy colon. And they're also very much involved in anti-inflammatory metabolism, which is important to keep things that you don't want in your body, keep them out. They increase fecal weight. Dietary fiber absolutely prevents constipation, which is the next thing, because it moves things quickly through your body, which is another reason why in the next one, it helps with weight, because food is not sitting for a long time in your body. And so that has a lot of chance to absorb more energy from it. And the better you move things through, the better it is for your health. It improves insulin sensitivity. As I mentioned, sugar can go right into your brain stream if it's coming from a gummy bear versus coming from an apple. In the apple, the sugar has to be digested. It's involved with fiber. It's not going to get right from the small intestine right into your bloodstream. It's going to take a while to get there. So that is important. It reduces inflammation because it helps make those short chain fatty acids. And it also reduces the low density lipoprotein cholesterol, the bad cholesterol. Improves glucose metabolism. That's because it improves your insulin sensitivity. And you have definitely a lower risk of colon cancer if you have foods not sitting in the sitting in the colon for days. Suddenly it's not going again. There. So how do you add fiber? Those nuts, you can add a few to a salad. Now, if you buy, they're not cheap. So you can buy a bag of walnuts and put them in the freezer and just take a little bit out at a time. And they're ready to eat. It's not like they get really hard and they stay fresh. And so you can buy them when they're on sale, or if you're only using a quarter cup or an ounce a day, which is the recommendation, they last a long time. So it's worthwhile to spend the money. If you're on food stamps and you get, they're not called food stamps anymore, but that shows my age. You can spend them on nuts because you do have to spend some of that money on nutritious foods. It's a good way to use your money. Rather than what my son's been doing, and I have to go shopping with him the next time I set him, because he'll buy a lot of dried fruit like dried mango. Now there's nothing wrong with it, but it's high in calories with sugar, and he'd be better off spending some of that money on nuts rather than 6 bags of these dried fruits. So if you can have any impact on anybody helping them shop, that's a good thing too. You can bread fish with crushed nuts. You can add nuts to all kinds of things, and you can just eat them for a snack. The thing about nuts as a snack is, because it doesn't have sugar, you're not going to get a raise in your blood sugar level by eating nuts. So they're very, very satisfying. When you send sugar into your bloodstream quickly, then your insulin comes out. It always overshoots, and then you get a hungry feeling after that because of that insulin staying around. But that does not happen if you're eating nuts or straight protein foods. Eat legumes or beans in place of meat, like lentils, black beans. They're so easy to use. Add vegetables to pizza. Rinse and add a small can of drained beans to salads. You can add them to soups and pasta sauce. I mean, if you're buying a canned soup, you can make it a lot more nutritious by adding some of your own beans to it. Just open a can of soup, open a can of beans, put them together, maybe a half, save the rest for another day, and make it all very much better for you. Use whole wheat flour when cooking. You can often substitute whole wheat flour for part of white flour all the time. You can just do it. It's not a problem. Choose cereal with 5 or more grams fiber per serving. So you need to look at the labels. You really don't want to eat a breakfast cereal that has no fiber. There's kind of no purpose to that in my mind. So you want to look at the label. The same with breads. 3 to 4 grams of fiber per slice is what you want in a bread. And you can get whole wheat white bread. So say you're not going to eat a whole wheat. My son says he doesn't like whole wheat. I get whole wheat white bread. I have him get whole wheat white. And then you'll find you have the fiber. You can make fruit for a dessert, which is always good. Canned is fine as long as you drain it. Add lettuce, tomatoes, onion, peppers to your sandwiches. Make simple stir fries, like those beans that you didn't use in the soup. You can throw them in with some rice and a few vegetables. Use brown rice. And then there's a lot of new, get rid of that, but such as bulgur and barley, grits, wheat germ. So you do need to read labels, because wheat flour is just white flour. It's not whole grain. The brand's been removed. You want to look for the label. The first word should be whole. Should it say whole wheat flour? That's important. So these are examples: whole wheat, whole oats, oatmeal, whole grain corn, brown and wild rice, whole rye, whole grain barley, buckwheat, bulgur, millet, quinoa, and sorghum are some. Now, the MIND diet only recommends that you have a green leafy every day. And every day to try to have a green leafy vegetable like spinach, romaine, kale, collard greens, microgreens, arugula, Swiss chard. But you're also eating at least 2 more servings of vegetables a day. And the Mediterranean diet wants you to eat that amount of vegetables. Romaine, I think it's a really good choice. It's less expensive, but it does not spoil like red leaf and green leaf does. You can buy a package of those 3 romaines for a reasonable price, and they will last all week and even a little longer without spoiling on you. The red and green leaf spoil so much quicker. So I buy the romaine all the time, and then I'll buy some spinach to add to it. If I'm not using the spinach fast enough, then I'll cook some. And again, that cooked spinach, you can add that to a can of soup you open up, or anything else you might open to make. You can just throw it in. 1 cup of raw equals a half a cup of cooked. You can add spinach to sauce. You can do a lot of things with it. Berries, the MIND diet says at least 2 servings a week, which is a half a cup. Now, berries are expensive. So you can use frozen berries. They're just as nutritious as fresh, and sometimes they are on sale. But you also need fruits in general. So we should have about 2 cups of fresh canned or frozen fruits per day. That would include the berries. And 1/4 cup of dried fruit equals a half a cup of fruit, because the dried fruit is much more concentrated and it's got more sugar in it, like raisins, and it's got the nutrients are more concentrated because it's dried. When you buy a can of fruit, if it's not in its own juice, just rinse it so that you get rid of a lot of the extra sugar you don't need. I just want to show you what a piece of fruit, just an orange, has so much in it. It's got vitamin C, fiber, folate, potassium, polyphenols. It has about 500 or so. I mean, we don't even know all of them. Pectin, dietary fiber. It has only 64 calories. And think how long it takes to eat an orange versus then 2 Oreo cookies. That might be about the same calories. It has all that 83 milligrams of vitamin C, which for women, it's more than they need in a day. Men, it's just about the requirement. But if you're smoking and male, you need even more. If you're a smoker, you need more vitamin C. Vitamin C in the orange is a strong antioxidant. That means it prevents things from oxidizing that you don't want in your body. You got 3 grams of dietary fiber. You got magnesium, 440 of folate, and more than 170 different phytonutrients. So there's a lot of nutrition packed in food that you cannot duplicate in a pill or a 1 a day. And it's why you need a variety of food, like fruits and vegetables and the whole grains. What we really want to do is focus on eating more fruits and vegetables. I think that's what we do not eat enough of. I see it with my grandson, see it with my son. Fruits and vegetables are not something that we put at the top of our list of what we need to eat every day, but it's the most important. So it's associated with a decrease in so many illnesses. And as I mentioned, nuts for snacks, but only a small amount, quarter cup per day, and no more than an ounce. Beans, as mentioned, they're very inexpensive. Those cans of beans, they go on sale. I always have a variety of cans of beans in the house because they're so easy to prepare. You can add chickpeas to any salad. I make rice and then I just mix beans and some vegetables with it. You can make tacos, add them to soup, make a baked potato and put some beans on top of it. So you should eat them at least twice a week. And I think it's so much healthier and cheaper than buying meat. So in the MIND diet, you want to avoid red meat. They say less than 4 servings a week. I still think that's a lot. I probably eat about 4 servings at the most, no, probably less than that. 2 to 3 servings of red meat in a month. Butter and margarine, less than a tablespoon daily. Cheese, less than 1 serving. But if you're not eating the red meat, you're eating less than 4 servings, then you can eat more cheese. I mean, you have to look at the whole picture of what you're eating. So I eat more cheese than 1 serving a week, but I don't eat that much red meat. And I'm not eating the fried or fast foods or the pastries and sweets very often. Also, a lot of cheese can be from low fat, like the skim mozzarella. And you can get cheddar cheeses that are 75% less fat, although they're not really quite as tasty. So sometimes I'll buy the 75% low fat and I'll mix it with the regular cheddar. And so I'm cutting back on the fat, but keeping some more of the flavor. Pastries and sweets are really hard to give up if you like them every day. One of my first jobs as a dietitian, I was working in a hospital consulting with a woman who made fresh donuts every day. And she was in there because of having a problem with diabetes, and she had lost a toe before, and then she was back in and lost a foot. And I said, she said, oh, I have to make the donuts. They're for my son, and I never eat them. Well, I don't know if you believe that, but I found it hard to believe. But I thought, okay, there's nothing I'm going to tell you if losing your foot does not change your mind on your eating pattern. But before you get to that point, I want you to think that it's not a deprivation to not eat the donut. It's really you're caring about yourself. It's your love of yourself that you're saying, all right, I deserve to have a really healthy diet. I do not need to eat these foods every week. Now, of course, on my birthday, I'm going to have a cake. I do have to make my own cake, though. But I do have cake. It's not like I never have cake. I do. And I do like ice cream, too. So I do have that. But it's all within moderation. And that's the key. Even though the MIND diet does not talk about dairy products, they are important. And there is research that shows dairy helps with reducing weight around the middle of your body. Fat-free or low fat is best. I'm trying to get out of having fat, but you can learn to decrease the amount of fat. If you like whole milk's only 3.5% fat. So when you go from whole milk to 2%, you're not losing much. So you can go down to that and then go down to 1%. And maybe that's as far as you want to go as far as what kind of milk you want to use. You could also decide that, well, maybe I want whole milk in my coffee, but I can use fat-free if I'm putting it in something else. 1.5 ounces of cheese is equivalent to an 8-ounce milk and 1 cup of yogurt. And yogurt's a great way too, because we're going to talk about that. It's a probiotic and it's a great way to get calcium. So your gut. When I was in graduate school, we never studied anything about your gut. It was not even a subject. So, but now it's like so interesting. Your diet shapes your gut microbiome, and that can affect your immune system and your overall health. You can see on this It's bacteria, viruses, fungi, single cells, and protozoa. It refers to all the organisms in your body and their genetic material. It's very unique to each person. Your microbiome is developed as soon as you're born. You leave your mother's body and you have a microbiome. It changes as you get older. There are more cells from microbes than human cells. It's a huge organ. We can call it an organ, even though it's not like a heart, but it's huge. The microbial genes are a second genome. So you have the genome in your own body, but there's a whole nother one in your gut. The total weight of our gut microbes are 1 to 3% of your total body weight. It's similar to the weight of the brain, and it's absolutely necessary for our survival. What do they do for us? They help maintain the integrity of the intestinal lining. They have a role in nutrient absorption and amino acid synthesis. They make vitamins like vitamin K. They help the immune system by being a defense against bad bacteria, like on your skin and your gut. So the good bacteria fight the bad. They gets the energy nutrients from food. They have the role in how the brain works, and they help protect against disease-causing organisms. You probably heard the terms prebiotic and probiotic. Prebiotics are whole foods and different types of fiber that is selectively utilized by your microorganism, which give you a health benefit. And probiotics are living microorganisms that, when in sufficient amounts in your gut, can provide health benefits. How do we keep them healthy? What you eat has a big impact, and it can change. You can change your diet tomorrow, and in 2 days, your gut microbe will be so much better. But if you go back to the way you ate the third day, it won't be long and your microbiomes will be back where they were. So it's not like you can change it and that's it. You have to continually eat a healthy diet to keep your microbes happy. Fiber-rich foods are important. They turn the fiber into short-chain fatty acids, which have anti-inflammatory, and they're also the energy source of your colon to keep that colon healthy, which is important to the integrity of keeping things in outside your body that you don't want to get in. You have to eat them through probiotic foods, such as yogurt. Fermented foods can provide some of the bacteria, hard cheese. And if you are on an antibiotic, they really do kill off the good bacteria in your gut also. So at the time you're on an antibiotic, you should try to eat more things like yogurt and hard cheese and more foods with that provide the probiotics. And there's just so much more that's going to be learned in this field. The foods good for your microbiome are minimally processed foods, plant foods, and fish. So it's the MIND diet, which is similar to the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet. The MIND diet is a combination of those. Minimally processed plant foods and fish. That's what you're looking for in your diet. The foods not good are the processed foods, animal products, especially red meat. Not all animal products, but red meat in particular. Sugar, straight into your body is not good. Fast food. They produce endotoxins that damage the gut's mucus layer. But food diversity is important for the microbes. So you need to eat a variety of plants and grains. Different fruits, vegetables, nuts, and grains make unique changes in your gut. So one fiber might give you inulin, and another fiber might give you another food might give you another fiber. Not any one food has all the different fibers that your gut needs. It needs a huge diversity. So if you're trying to maintain weight or to decrease it, eating 3 meals a day is probably good. Not skipping a meal, because sometimes if you skip a meal, you eat more at the next meal. Choose foods that are low in fat and sugar. Eat foods that are high in fiber. Snack on low-calorie foods. I mean, nuts aren't a low-calorie food, but they're low sugar-raising, insulin-raising food. And in quarter cup of nuts, that would be all. And you should sit down to all meals if you can. We eat a lot of meals on the run in the United States. Watch how much you drink and try to avoid drinks high in sugar. You want to take one step at a time. You can choose one change that you can make and stick with it, like one less soda a day, or buy only whole wheat bread. Switch from whole to 2% to 1%. You can't expect to do everything at one time, especially if you don't have a lot of motivation or you're not really interested. Maybe your family can help you. Just change one thing. Create an environment that is more conducive to choosing nutritious foods. And part of that is what you buy at the supermarket and what's in the house. If it's not there, you can't eat it. If your friends are going out and eating lots of fast food, maybe you can skip that part of being with them or suggest going to something else or doing something else, taking a walk. If you go to a clubhouse, maybe you can initiate a walk program or some other way to eat snacks that are more nutritious, like fruits or vegetables. So, as I said, don't bring foods that are high in fat. Oops, sorry. Why did it come back up? Okay. Oh boy. Why isn't it going? There. One resource that is really good for you, and I'll show it again at the end. There's a little booklet that Ruth Wallace is a dietitian. Well, she's a PhD in nutrition. She's written these fabulous books on nutrition and mental health, but she has a booklet and it's free. It's called Support Your Mental Health. And you can go to her website, which I have up here. When you go to the website, you have to join, but it doesn't cost anything. I think it just helps manage your website a little bit. But you just go in and put your name in, and then you become, I don't know, you're registered with it, and you just can download any of her materials. And they're really, really good. Once I get off the slides, I'll show you. But she has all kinds of materials. She has, besides the booklet, she has pages on just different subjects that you can download. So it's a really valuable resource. She's a brilliant woman. This is like the front page of her mental health book. So you can see it covers a lot of subjects. NAMI has a program called Hearts and Minds. It's coming if it's not already. It's not in Connecticut yet, but it's an old program, but they have a whole new version that's coming out. And when you hear about that, it might be something you want to get involved in. So focus on health. Better food habits can make you feel better. What changes can you make today? And stop sharing. Okay, this is the booklet that she has, and it's got a lot of good material in it. I do encourage you to look that up. I see there's a chat question. Oh, it says put any questions in chat that you want if you have anything.
Yeah, I put that out there, but I don't see anybody chatting any questions in, so.
It's really difficult to make the changes. Oh, drinking water is, I'm always told myself, my doctor's always telling me drink more water, drink more water. So I have some here with me now because I do have some troubles with my throat sometimes. And it's the only way to do it, I think, is you can have a thermos of water around and just keep it around, drink it during the day. And just to remind yourself that you do need to drink water. It is important to drink water. That was a good comment. Thank you. What can you substitute for nuts? Oh, good point. If you have an allergy, yes, not eat nuts if you have an allergy. Then I would substitute for. It's not going to do for a fiber source, but if you want a snack that's not going to raise your blood glucose levels, then any little bit of protein will work, like an ounce of turkey or an ounce of cheese or low-fat cheese. Because any protein source like that will not raise your glucose level, and it will satisfy your hunger without you eating a bag of chips or several cookies. For fiber, you just have to go to your fruits and vegetables and forget about the nuts. It's not like the end of the world because you can get fiber, the nutrients, from other places.
Okay.
Okay, well, yeah.
If you can put the link in for that booklet into the chat.
Okay, I'll put that link in. Oh, there, I have it here. Okay, I'll put it in chat. Seltzer water is terrific. Yes, I use seltzer water, and I try to get my son who has schizophrenia to drink a lot of water. Seltzer water, sometimes adding just a little bit of juice to it can really make it more satisfying than just the plain seltzer water. But that's a great alternative to sodas and mineral water. Same thing, really great. Choice. And I'm going to write in this Ruth's website. Her information is really good. There is so much nutrition information about nutrition in the brain, but a lot of it is tied to gut nutrition, and most of the research is still so new that you can't say, oh, do this and this is going to make a difference. A lot of the omega-3s and mood disorders have shown a lot of significance, but the thing about omega-3s is, to me, is that why not try to have more fish unless you're a vegetarian, because it's really good for your heart. And so it's good for your brain. So it's, to me, it works. And you only need 3 ounces. So yes, salmon might be somewhat expensive, but if you say you only want a 4-ounce piece, that is not that much. So we do not need to eat 6 ounces of meat or protein or fish or chicken. The requirement for protein is small compared to what we as Americans eat. 3 ounces at a meal, 4 ounces at a meal, more than enough. So that cuts down on the cost a lot. And what you fill up the plate with then is your whole grains and your fruits and vegetables. Well, I hope this was worthwhile for you, and thank you for coming.